I thought I was cleaning someone else's mess. Turns out I was sweeping through my own past. My name's Noah Reyes, I'm 29, and I clean floors most people won't even walk on barefoot. At 2:07 a.m., under the flicker of a hotel lobby light, my mop hit something soft, a small black purse stuck beneath a vending machine. I almost ignored it. Almost. Inside was a wedding ring wrapped in tissue, a photo of two people smiling in front of a church, and a driver's license that made my stomach drop. Name: Evelyn Hart. But on the inside flap of the purse, scrawled in permanent marker, were 3 words that didn't belong. Property of Gloria Reyes. My mother's name. The woman who told me she'd never been married. The woman who never wore jewelry. The woman asleep in our tiny apartment across town who would later look at me and whisper, "Where did you find that?" By sunrise, my world would stop being about floors and start being about lies. Because some stains don't come out with bleach. Some things hide in plain sight until they're ready to ruin you. That line would play in Noah's head for weeks, but tonight, it was just the hum of the hotel lobby lights and the smell of wet carpet. He was mopping the floor near the vending machine when his mop hit something soft. A purse. Black leather, dusty, sitting half-tucked beneath the machine like it had been shoved there in a hurry. He looked around. The place was empty. Only the flicker of the front desk monitor and the quiet snore of the night manager behind it. Noah crouched and pulled the purse free. It smelled faintly of lavender and something metallic, like old coins or blood. He hesitated. Guests forgot umbrellas and chargers all the time, but a purse felt different. Still, it was late, and curiosity had always been his weakness. He unzipped it just enough to peek inside. A gold wedding ring, an ID card, some cash, crisp and untouched. The name on the ID, Evelyn Hart. The photo showed a woman in her 30s with blonde hair, a half smile as if she was trying to be polite for the camera. Noah stared at the name, trying to remember if anyone had checked in under it this week. Nothing came to mind. He brought it to the front desk. The manager barely looked up from his phone. "People forget things," he muttered, waving Noah off. "Just leave it there." Noah didn't. Something about the purse, its weight, the neat order of its contents felt deliberate. Not lost. Left. He told himself he'd drop it off at the police station tomorrow. For now, he'd keep it safe. He slipped it into his backpack, finished mopping, and clocked out. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the air was thick with the smell of asphalt. He walked home through empty streets, the purse pressing against his spine. Every few blocks he'd imagined footsteps behind him, a shadow at the corner. But when he turned, nothing. His apartment was silent except for the refrigerator's hum. He set the purse on the kitchen table under the yellow light. The lavender scent was stronger now. He took out the ID again, brushing a thumb across the photo. Evelyn Hart. He wondered if she was scared somewhere, missing it, or if she had meant to lose it. The ring glinted beside it. Gold, heavy, still warm from his hand. As he turned it over, something caught the light, an engraving so faint it almost disappeared in shadow. He rubbed gently, and the letters surfaced. To G.R. forever. Noah froze. He didn't know any G.R., but the way the words shimmered, carved deep and precise, made his stomach twist. Rings weren't engraved like that unless they were personal, unless they mattered. He looked toward the window, suddenly aware of how dark the glass was. His reflection stared back, the purse beside him like an open secret waiting to be claimed. My mom never owned anything forever. Not jewelry, not promises, not even people. So when I showed her the gold ring I'd found in that black purse, I didn't expect much. Maybe a shrug, maybe a laugh. But what I got instead was silence so heavy it bent the air. She was standing at the sink, rinsing lettuce for dinner, when I said the name. "Do you know an Evelyn Hart?" The water kept running. Gloria Ramsey didn't turn around. The lettuce slipped from her hands, thudding into the basin. She shut off the tap. "What did you just say?" "Evelyn Hart," I repeated. "Found her ID at work." "She!" Mom spun around, dripping hands forgotten, eyes locked on the small gold band sitting on the counter. "Where did you get that?" Her voice cracked like glass under pressure. I told her about the hotel, the purse, and how the night manager didn't care. She didn't respond. She just walked over, slow and deliberate, as if the ring might explode. When she picked it up, her fingers trembled. "This isn't yours," she said. "I know," I answered carefully. "Do you know her? Evelyn?" She shook her head too fast. "No, you shouldn't have brought this here." "Why not? It's just a ring. It's not just anything." She closed her hand around it, the muscles in her jaw tightening. "Some things should stay lost, Noah. You don't need to go poking at ghosts." The way she said it, ghosts, made my skin crawl. Mom had always been practical, unshakable, a woman who believed in receipts and schedules. Fear didn't fit her. She went to the kitchen drawer, the one that held batteries and broken scissors, and dropped the ring in. "Leave the past alone," she said quietly, closing it with a sharp click. Dinner was silent after that. I tried to eat, but every sound, the scrape of forks, the hum of the refrigerator felt too loud. She didn't meet my eyes once. When she finally stood to clear the table, her shoulders looked smaller than I remembered. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The lavender scent from the purse still lingered on my hands. Something about that name, Evelyn Hart, looped in my mind. Why had Mom reacted like that? I waited until I heard her bedroom door close, her footsteps fade. Then I got up. The kitchen was dark, moonlight stretching across the counter. I pulled open the drawer. Empty. The batteries were still there. The broken scissors, too. But the ring, gone. A chill slid down my spine. I checked the trash, the sink, and even under the fridge. Nothing. She'd moved it, or someone had taken it. I turned toward my phone on the counter, the screen lighting up with a single new message. No name, no profile photo, just a number I didn't recognize. "You shouldn't have touched the purse." She disappeared once, and now her file did too. The next morning, Noah walked into the precinct with the black purse zipped tight in his bag. The air inside smelled like burnt coffee and old paper, a place where stories went to die quietly. At the counter, a tired-looking woman handed him a form. Lost property. "Fill this." He wrote Evelyn Hart on the line marked owner, if known, and hesitated. Under description of contents, he scribbled wedding ring, ID card, cash, intact. When he turned the paper in, she raised an eyebrow. "Hart, huh? Hold on." 10 minutes later, a man in a dark gray shirt appeared. Detective Danner. Mid-40s, clean shave, the kind of eyes that saw too much. "You found this last night?" "Yeah, at the hotel where I work," Noah said. "Under a vending machine." Danner unzipped the purse carefully like it might bleed secrets. He studied the ID, then leaned back. "You said Evelyn Hart?" "Yes, why?" Danner exhaled slowly. "Because Evelyn Hart's been missing since 2020. The words landed like a weight on Noah's chest. Missing. 5 years. He stammered, "You mean, this purse belongs to?" "She vanished from Silver Harbor not far from here. Husband reported her missing after she didn't show up for a charity gala. No body, no trace." Danner closed the purse. Case went cold 2 years later. Noah rubbed his hands together. "Can I see the report? Maybe there's a clue." The ring had initials, GR. "Does that match anyone?" Danner hesitated. "I'll check." He disappeared behind a door marked Records. 15 minutes passed, then 20. When he came back, his face was tight. "The file's not there." "What do you mean, not there?" "It's been removed from the system. The folder's still in storage, but the paperwork's gone." He set a manila folder on the desk. Noah saw the stains first, brown rings of dried coffee, and then the red stamp, void. In the corner, faint pencil letters read, I.V. "What does that mean?" Noah asked. Danner shook his head. "Could be invalid, could be initials. Hard to say. Can you refile it? Start again?" The detective leaned forward. "Listen, son, you might have stepped into something old. Some cases die for a reason. People stop digging because they learn what's buried." Noah forced a nervous laugh. "You think I'm in danger?" "I think you're curious," Danner said, standing. "And curiosity is how people like you end up missing too." The warning hung in the air like smoke. Noah left the station with the empty folder still burned into his mind. The word void, the faint scent of coffee, and the initials he couldn't stop repeating. That night, the sky cracked with thunder as he tried to sleep. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. Unknown number again. He answered without thinking. Danner's voice was low, urgent. "Noah, someone just reopened Evelyn Hart's bank account." The woman in the footage looked like my mother, 20 years younger. Noah wasn't supposed to be in the hotel security office after hours, but rules had already stopped mattering. The air smelled like burnt dust from the monitors, and the flickering light from the screens made his hands look ghostly. Ruth, the front desk clerk, stood beside him, arms crossed tight. "You owe me for this," she whispered. "If we get caught, I'm saying you stole my keycard." "Fair," Noah muttered, eyes fixed on the playback timeline. "I just need to see what happened the night I found that purse." He scrubbed through the footage. The vending machine corner came into view, empty, then flashing lights, then movement. A woman appeared wearing a long coat, moving fast. She crouched, slid something black under the machine, and stood up. For a second, her face caught the light. Noah's chest tightened. The curve of her jaw, the way she brushed her hair behind her ear, it was like looking at his mother, only younger. He froze the frame. "Ruth, does she look familiar to you?" Ruth leaned closer, squinting. Her lips parted slightly. "That bracelet. What about it?" She pointed. Silver band. Broken link near the clasp. She used to wear one just like that. Noah blinked. "You mean my mom?" Ruth hesitated. "Gloria, yeah, she worked here before you were born. Only for a few months. Night cleaning crew." The words hit him harder than he expected. "She never told me that." Ruth looked away. "She quit after something happened." Nobody said much, but one night cops came asking about a missing guest. "Name was Evelyn Hart," Noah finished for her. Ruth's face went pale. "You're joking." He shook his head. "That's the name on the purse." She whispered. "Then your mom's mixed up in something I don't want to know." Noah rewound the footage one more time, zooming in. The woman's bracelet caught a glint from the overhead light. When he paused the frame, he could see the engraving on the inside of the band. E.H. He didn't speak for a moment. Evelyn Hart. Ruth stepped back. "Noah, turn that off. Please." But he couldn't. His hands trembled as he reached for the playback controls. The image seemed to flicker, the woman's face dissolving slightly in the poor video quality. Yet the resemblance stayed clear, his mother or someone who wanted to be her. When the office light suddenly flickered, Ruth gasped. "That's enough. Take what you saw and go home. Don't tell anyone I helped." Noah nodded, but his mind was already somewhere else. He ran all the way home, the broken bracelet Ruth had handed him still warm in his pocket. She said it had been found behind the vending machine during maintenance. Inside the clasp, etched faintly, were the same initials. E.H. When he pushed open the apartment door, the air was still. Too still. The lights were on, her favorite cup on the counter, but no sound. He knocked on her bedroom door. Nothing. Inside, the bed was untouched. The window stood open, curtains fluttering in the wind. His mother was gone. She checked in twice under different names. The hotel smelled the same as always, bleach and tired perfume, but tonight it felt like walking into a lie. Noah stood behind the front desk, flipping through the thick guest ledger Ruth had slipped him after hours. The pages were filled with signatures, scrawled dates, and ink stains that bled through the paper. But there, halfway down the page for March 14th, was one name written in his mother's looping handwriting. Evelyn Hart. He turned the page back 3 days. Another entry, same pen pressure, same curl on the Y. This one read Gloria Reyes, his mother's real name. He ran his finger over both signatures. Same hand, same woman. 2 names, 2 identities, same room number. Ruth leaned over the counter, whispering, "You see it, right? Room 212. That's where she checked in both times." Before he could answer, a voice came from behind them. "You shouldn't be looking at that, Noah." Detective Danner stepped out from the hallway, jacket half-buttoned, expression unreadable. "How did you?" Noah started. Danner held up his badge. "I got a call from the manager. Said someone was poking through old records." Noah straightened. "My mother's name is in there. twice, once as Evelyn Hart. Danner's eyes narrowed as he examined the page. That's her handwriting. I'd bet my life on it. He sighed, rubbing his temple. If your mother's alive, she's in danger. Or she's the danger. The words chilled Noah more than he expected. You think she's involved in Evelyn's disappearance? I think, Danner said quietly, whatever happened here didn't end 5 years ago. Noah stared at the overlapping signatures again, his mother's pen strokes almost identical between both names. He noticed faint indentations, like something had been written on the page above and pressed through. He shaded over the area with a pencil. Letters emerged slowly, jagged and half-formed. Deliver to Silver Chapel. What's Silver Chapel? He asked. Ruth swallowed hard. It's the old church by the harbor. Closed after the fire. Before Danner could reply, the night manager entered, holding a box of unclaimed items. You people done? This place isn't a museum. He set the box down, and something inside caught Noah's eye. A folded church pamphlet, edges burned and yellowed. The name printed across the front read Silver Chapel, Sanctuary for the Lost. Noah unfolded it. The inside was water-stained, but he could still see a photograph. A small group of volunteers smiling under the church's bell tower. At the center stood a woman holding a donation basket. Her smile was familiar, her eyes even more so. It was Evelyn Hart. And in the background, blurred but unmistakable, his mother stood near the door, watching her. Danner looked over Noah's shoulder, his voice low. Looks like your mother's been part of this from the start. Noah didn't answer. He just stared at the photo until the paper shook in his hands, realizing that every trail, the purse, the ring, the file, had been leading right back to her. The altar smelled like secrets, not candles. The church sat at the edge of the harbor, half swallowed by fog and ivy. Its roof sagged under the weight of years, and every window shimmered with grime instead of glass. Noah pushed the heavy wooden door open, its hinges groaning like something alive. The air inside was cold, thick with dust and the faint echo of prayers no one believed in anymore. Rows of pews leaned at strange angles. Hymn books lay scattered on the floor, pages curled and yellow. At the front, a woman was kneeling by the altar, brushing dirt from a carved plaque. She looked up when Noah's footsteps echoed. "You're not supposed to be here," she said. "I'm looking for someone," he replied, his voice unsteady. "Evelyn Hart." The woman studied him for a long moment, then stood. "You found her photo, didn't you? From the old pamphlet." "Yes," Noah said. "I just need to know who she was." The woman wiped her hands on her jeans. "Sienna Voss," she said. "I run the restoration fund. Evelyn Hart was my father's wife." Noah blinked. "Your father?" "Isaac Voss," she said, nodding toward a broken picture frame propped against the altar. Inside was a faded photograph, a wedding portrait. A man in a black suit, tall, proud, smiling beside a woman in a lace dress. Evelyn. Her eyes seemed alive even through the cracked glass. Below the photo, a date was scrawled in smeared blue ink, 1993. Noah crouched, staring. The ink had bled into the paper, but he could still read the numbers. "That's 32 years ago." Sienna nodded. "Before the fire, before everything fell apart. She was your stepmother." "Yes, Dad said she left him one night and never came back. But people whispered she'd been having an affair with someone from the chapel staff. It ruined everything. The church lost its donors and she stopped herself. He never recovered." Noah's chest tightened. 1993. That was the year he was born. "Do you remember her? Evelyn?" Sienna smiled faintly. "Barely. I was just a kid. But I remember her laugh. It filled this whole place. Then one day she was gone. No goodbye, no trace. Dad told everyone she ran off to start a new life." Noah picked up the photo carefully. Behind the happy couple, faint in the background, he noticed another figure, a woman standing near the choir steps. The image was blurred, but her face caught enough light to be recognizable. His heart skipped. It was his mother, younger, smiling at Isaac Voss. The realization hit like cold water. His mother wasn't a bystander in Evelyn's story. She'd been there, inside the frame, part of the same world Evelyn vanished from. Sienna noticed his change in expression. "What's wrong?" Noah slipped the photo into his jacket before she could see. "Nothing," he lied. "I just need to find my mom." He turned toward the door, pulse hammering. Outside, the fog had thickened, but he could still see faint tire marks leading away from the church. Fresh ones. Someone else had been there tonight. Someone who didn't want the past uncovered. The safe opened like it had been waiting for me. Noah's flashlight trembled in his hand as he pushed through the narrow hallway behind the altar, where the old church offices had been sealed for decades. The air was stale, thick with mold and ashes. Rusty filing cabinets lined the walls, their drawers swollen shut from dampness. At the end of the hall, half hidden behind a fallen shelf, stood a heavy metal safe, its door corroded, but still locked. He crouched beside it, tracing his fingers along the dial. Someone had carved faint initials into the metal. I.V. Isaac Voss. The name from the wedding photo. The same mark that had been scrawled across Evelyn's police file. Void. I.V. He exhaled slowly. Maybe this was what the initials had meant all along. Not invalid, but Isaac Voss. Noah grabbed a crowbar from the corner and wedged it under the hinge. The first push did nothing. The second made the metal groan. On the third, the safe gave way with a heavy click, and the door creaked open, releasing a breath of air that smelled like dust and something long dead. Inside was a stack of papers wrapped in plastic. He pulled them out carefully, laying them on the desk. The top document was a marriage annulment draft. Isaac Voss and Evelyn Hart, April 1993. The signature lines were empty, but Evelyn's name was written twice, once in pen, once crossed out. Beneath it was a smaller envelope, yellowed and sealed shut with old wax. Across the front, in looping handwriting, were two words that made his blood run cold. "My son." He stared at it, breath shallow. The back of the envelope bore a faint fingerprint smudge in faded brown ink, as if Evelyn had pressed it there herself before sealing it. The bottom corner was signed simply E. H. His throat tightened. His pulse thundered in his ears. He turned it over, thumb resting on the flap, but he couldn't do it. Not yet. His hands were shaking too much. The silence of the church seemed to grow heavier with every breath. His phone buzzed suddenly, loud in the empty room. He jumped, nearly dropping the envelope. It was Detective Danner. "Noah," the detective said, voice rough. "Where are you?" "At the church," Noah whispered. "Why?" Danner hesitated. "We found your mother's car, abandoned by the North Point Bridge. Driver's side door open, engine cold. No sign of her." Noah's heart dropped into his stomach. "What do you mean, no sign of her?" "I mean, she's gone, kid. And I think someone wanted you to find that purse." The call ended before Noah could reply. His reflection glinted faintly in the safe's metal door, pale, wide-eyed, lost. He sat down at the desk, the sealed letter trembling in his hands. Every instinct screamed not to read it, but something deeper, something that felt like blood memory, told him he had to. He tore the flap open. The paper inside crackled softly. The first line read, "If you're reading this, then I failed to keep you safe. Water doesn't hide everything. It just delays it." The sun hadn't fully risen when Noah reached the bridge. Police tape fluttered in the cold morning wind, the river below churning gray and restless. Flashing lights painted the fog in red and blue. Two officers stood near the guardrail talking quietly, but there was no stretcher, no divers, no discovery. Just Gloria's car, door open, engine off, driver's seat empty. Detective Danner was leaning against the hood, coffee in hand, eyes red from no sleep. "She's not in the water," he said before Noah could ask. Search team combed the banks. Nothing yet. Noah walked closer, his chest tight. The inside of the car still smelled faintly of her perfume, jasmine, and old cigarettes. On the passenger seat, a half-empty water bottle rolled when he touched it. "What about the glove box?" Noah asked quietly. Danner handed him a plastic evidence bag. Inside was a small white ticket, a parking stub, torn at one corner with faint handwriting on the back. I.V. "The date's from yesterday," Danner said. "Voss Estate, out by the cliffs." Noah's pulse quickened. Isaac Voss. The detective nodded. Either she went to see him, or he sent for her. By the time Noah reached the estate, the morning mist had thinned, revealing a sprawling mansion surrounded by iron fences and overgrown gardens. The gate creaked open on its own. Someone had left it unlocked. Inside, the place felt both alive and abandoned. Dust coated the chandeliers, but the air carried the faint warmth of a fire recently burned. In the living room, by a grand piano, sat a man in a wheelchair staring at the river through tall windows. "Mr. Voss?" Noah said. Isaac turned slowly. His face was pale, drawn tight, like parchment stretched too thin. "You must be Gloria's boy." Noah froze. "You know my mother?" Voss's eyes flicked toward the folded parking stub in Noah's hand. "She was here yesterday." "Why?" "To finish something," he said, voice calm but fragile. "Something we started a long time ago." Noah stepped closer. "Evelyn Hart, she was your wife." Isaac nodded slowly. "Yes, but she wasn't who she said she was. She lied about everything. Her name, her past, even her child." Noah's heart pounded. "What child?" Voss didn't answer right away. Instead, he wheeled toward a cabinet by the fireplace and opened a small lockbox. Inside were old photographs, black and white portraits of Evelyn in the church, smiling, holding a newborn wrapped in a blanket. "She said the baby died," Isaac murmured, staring at the photo. "But I never saw a grave. Never saw proof." Noah's throat tightened. "You think my mother took him?" "I think your mother was her," Isaac said softly. "Evelyn Hart, Gloria Reyes. Same woman. Different names. Different lives." Noah staggered back, shaking his head. "That's impossible." Isaac reached into the lockbox again and pulled out a small revolver, old but gleaming. His hand trembled. "Not impossible," he whispered. "Just unforgiven." The sound of the hammer clicking back echoed through the empty hall. "I thought I wanted the truth. I was wrong." The DNA results came back faster than Noah expected. A plain white envelope from the lab, sealed tight, trembling in his hands as if it already knew it was going to hurt him. He tore it open in the car outside the Voss estate, rain drumming against the windshield. Inside, the page was simple, clinical, merciless. Paternal match, 99. 8. Isaac Voss. He sat there for a long time, the paper shaking in his hands, watching the ink blur under a single drop of rain. The truth wasn't sharp. It was heavy, crushing. His mother, Evelyn Hart, and Gloria Reyes hadn't just disappeared. She'd started over, changed names, changed everything, and he was the reason. By the time he walked back into the mansion, Isaac was waiting in his study, the fire behind him casting long shadows on the walls. He looked smaller than before, older, as if the confession had aged him overnight. "You've seen it," Isaac said quietly. Noah nodded. "I'm your son." Isaac leaned back in his chair. "I knew from the moment I saw you. The eyes, hers. The temper, mine." Noah's jaw clenched. "Why did she run?" Isaac exhaled. "Because she was forced to. My wife, Sienna's mother, found out about the affair. Evelyn was pregnant. She couldn't let that scandal destroy our family's name, not in the middle of the church rebuild. So she had Evelyn declared unstable, committed, quietly." Noah felt his stomach twist. "She was institutionalized?" "Hidden," Isaac said. "Then one night she escaped, changed her name. I didn't look for her because I was told she was dead." Noah's voice trembled. "You let her think she had to live in hiding for the rest of her life." Isaac looked away. "We all have ghosts we pay to keep quiet." Noah's gaze caught a glint of metal in the desk drawer, a gun-shaped letter opener engraved with the words Voss & Co. He picked it up, weighing it in his palm. Cold, heavy, real enough to matter. Isaac noticed. "You can put that down, son." Noah's voice dropped. "Why? Because the truth's too dangerous?" Isaac reached into his jacket and slid an envelope across the table, thick with cash. "Take it, walk away. The world doesn't need to know about me or her." Before Noah could speak, the door burst open. Detective Danner stepped in, hand on his holster. "You're buying silence now, Voss? That's obstruction." Isaac glared. "Stay out of this, detective." Noah set his phone on the table, voice steady. "It's recording. Everything you just said." For a heartbeat, the room was nothing but the sound of rain against glass. Then chaos. A single gunshot ripped through the silence. Noah stumbled backward, ears ringing, the smell of gunpowder thick in the air. Isaac slumped over his desk, blood spreading across a page of old church records. Noah stared down, his hands were empty. The letter opener was gone. The weapon that fired wasn't his. Somewhere behind him, a door creaked open and a woman's voice whispered his name. "You can clean blood off tile, not off memory." The flashing red and blue lights made the mansion walls look like a crime scene from a bad dream. Noah sat in the back of the squad car, wrists cuffed, shirt stained with someone else's blood. He kept telling them the same thing. He didn't shoot Isaac Voss. But the words didn't matter. The evidence did, and somehow all of it pointed to him. At the station, Danner's face looked carved from stone. "You were seen entering the Voss estate at 9:40 p.m., he said, sliding a grainy still frame across the table. "That's you, isn't it?" Noah stared at the image. It was him, his face, his jacket, walking up the mansion steps. The problem was he hadn't gone inside until nearly 11. 2 hours off. "That's fake," he whispered. "I was at the hotel then." Danner frowned. "Hotel security footage backs you up." The problem that the footage was deleted this morning. His heart sank. Someone had edited both sides of the story, erasing his alibi, fabricating his guilt. The next day, as news of Isaac's death flooded every channel, Sienna appeared at the precinct, hair tied back, eyes sharp. "Detective," she said, "I think I can help." Danner shot her a skeptical look. "Why would you?" "Because whoever set him up might come for me next." She placed a small bag on his desk. Inside was a cleaning mop handle cracked open along one edge. Hidden inside, wrapped in tape, was a small, scorched hard drive. "This came from the hotel's janitor closet," Sienna said. "Maintenance guy found it during renovations. Said Ruth told him to keep it quiet." Danner plugged it into his laptop. The drive whirred weakly, the screen flickering with corrupted thumbnails, fragments of security footage, partial logs, dates overlapping the night Isaac was killed. He ran a quick recovery script. When the images sharpened, Noah's heart nearly stopped. There he was, on screen, mopping the hotel lobby at the exact moment the fake footage claimed he was entering the mansion. Danner leaned back, whistling softly. "Someone went through a lot of trouble to make you look guilty." That afternoon, Ruth was brought in. Her eyes darted everywhere except at Noah. "I didn't mean for this to go that far," she said, voice cracking. "I just did what I was told. She said it was to protect him." "Protect who?" Danner asked. Ruth hesitated. "Gloria." She was terrified Isaac would find out. She said he'd take everything, even her son, if the truth got out. The truth began knitting itself together in fragments. Evelyn Hart hadn't killed Isaac Voss. She'd tried to expose him. The church fraud, the missing donations, the staged disappearance, all of it tied back to him. Danner pushed his chair back. So whoever killed him didn't just want him dead. They wanted his sins buried. That night, as the storm broke outside, Danner sat alone in his office, reviewing the evidence again. He opened the original purse from the hotel, the one that started everything, now sealed in a new evidence bag. He dusted the clasp for prints, slow, methodical, expecting nothing new. But when the scanner lit up, the pattern that appeared froze him in place. He called Noah immediately. His voice was low, grave. "The fingerprints on the purse," he said. "They're not yours. They're not your mother's." Noah swallowed hard. "Then whose are they?" Danner hesitated before answering. "Sienna Voss. We both grew up cleaning up after him." That's how Sienna began her confession, sitting across from Noah in the dim light of the interrogation room. Her wrists were cuffed, but her voice was steady, almost relieved. There were no lawyers, no cameras, just Danner in the corner and the truth finally running out of places to hide. "I didn't mean for it to happen like that," she said. "He was supposed to sign the papers, admit what he'd done, let your mother's name rest. But he wouldn't. He laughed at me." Noah sat still, the air between them sharp with silence. "You shot him." Her eyes flicked up. He was going to frame Gloria again. Said the madwoman angle still worked, even after all these years. He had the gun in his hand, Noah. He said he'd call Danner himself, plant the story, make it look like she'd come back to finish what she started. She swallowed hard. I grabbed it first. Noah wanted to be angry, but all he felt was a hollow ache. Isaac Voss had destroyed everyone around him. Evelyn, Gloria, and even his own daughter. Sienna reached into her jacket pocket with trembling hands. Danner tensed but didn't move as she slid a folded, water-stained document across the table. "This belonged to your mother," she said. "It was in his safe before the fire. I kept it." Noah unfolded it slowly. The paper was fragile, browned at the edges, stamped with a faded hospital seal. Birth certificate, Noah Hart Voss. His throat tightened as he read the signatures. Mother, Evelyn Hart. Beneath it, barely legible but still there, Father, Isaac Voss. The man had known all along. He hadn't denied his so, he'd just erased him. Sienna's voice softened. "He signed it when you were born. Then his wife found out, and he hid it. Your mom wasn't crazy." She was silenced. Danner stood, sliding the document into an evidence folder. "This changes everything," he said quietly. "But it also seals your fate, Miss Voss. Confession, tampering, obstruction." Sienna nodded. "I know." She looked at Noah again, eyes wet but defiant. "Tell them the truth. Tell them about Evelyn. Don't let her end as a villain. Let her name mean something again." He hesitated. "If I do, your family name will burn with it. The Voss estate, the foundation, everything." "Then let it burn," she whispered. He built it on lies. Danner led her away, the cuffs clicking softly like punctuation to a story almost over. Noah stayed behind in the cold silence, the birth certificate trembling in his hands. For the first time, he felt the full weight of who he was, the son of a man who hid him and a woman the world destroyed for telling the truth. That night he returned to his apartment unable to sleep. The city outside buzzed faintly, but everything inside him was quiet, heavy. Then came the knock. When he opened the door, no one was there. Only an envelope on the floor, sealed in brown paper, his name written across it in shaky handwriting. Ruth's handwriting. The news alert on his phone flashed at the same time. Local witness found dead in her home, apparent overdose. Noah stared at the envelope, his pulse hammering. The label read, "You deserve to know how she lived, not how she died." Some closets hold supplies. Others hold goodbyes. Noah stood in the old hotel mop closet, the same one where all of this had begun. The air was thick with cleaning chemicals and silence. The cracked handle of the mop still leaned in the corner, the same one that had once hidden the corrupted hard drive. Now it hid something else. He knelt on the cold tile, the brown envelope from Ruth trembling in his hands. Her handwriting, faint and uneven, felt like the last breath of someone who had carried too many secrets for too long. He tore it open carefully. Inside were several folded pages, yellowed, thin as dried petals. The top sheet bore the stamp of St. Mary Ann's Restorative Clinic, 1994. His mother's handwriting filled the page, looping, fragile, desperate. "My dearest Noah, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't stay hidden forever. I was Evelyn once. Evelyn Hart, your father's wife. But the name came with chains, with silence. When I found out about you, they told me you would ruin everything, that you were a mistake to erase. I ran. I didn't run from you. I ran to keep you. I changed my name to Gloria Reyes. I scrubbed hotel floors, sold jewelry, and lied to kind people just to buy us peace. Every birthday, I baked a cake and pretended your father was somewhere proud of you, even when I knew he wasn't allowed to be. He signed your birth certificate in secret. That was his only act of love, and his last." Noah's eyes blurred. The letters swam as he read on. "They said I was unstable, that I'd imagined the threats, the fire, the lies. Maybe I did imagine peace. Maybe I imagined a world where you'd never have to carry my name. But the truth has a heartbeat, Noah. It finds its way back. If they ever find this letter, I'll be gone. But know this, you were never my shame. You were my reason to survive." At the bottom, her signature, Evelyn Hart, Gloria Reyes, and beside it the faint blue stamp of the clinic's seal. Noah folded the pages back together, his chest heavy but clear. The story wasn't about guilt anymore. It was about release. That evening he drove back to the church by the harbor. The restoration banners still hung limp across the broken gates. Inside, sunlight filtered through the fractured glass, scattering patterns across the dusty floor. He walked to the altar where Sienna had once stood, where his mother had once prayed for freedom. From his pocket he took the black purse, the same one that started everything, and set it gently on the altar. He reached inside and pulled out 2 rings. Evelyn's gold wedding band engraved to GR, forever, and the cracked silver bracelet with EH etched within. He placed them side by side. "You can rest now," he whispered. The breeze from the broken window carried the scent of lavender and old stone, like a soft exhale. For the first time he didn't feel haunted. He felt seen. Some secrets aren't meant to protect. They're meant to free. If you've ever grown up in someone else's shadow, remember, the truth still belongs to you. Subscribe for more stories of buried love and redemption.